All right, well, he goes on to say that apparently prophetic ethics needs there to be in place skilled, aka virtuous scholars who have devoted their lives to the study of ancient languages and texts, rather than organizing people for justice. Or does the scholar even have a role in prophetic ethics visions? It isn't clear to Kallenberg. In order to guide those who today would put ancient text into practice. And I think the implied saying here is that people like Kallenberg and Kallenberg himself would very happily step into the role and teach others about virtue ethics, even with under the auspices of prophetic ethics here.
Yeah. And so he says, but there's a deeper issue at stake. We're told to do justice, but to love kindness, right? That's what the passage says. Right. And he says, a judge rendering a just verdict in a court of law does not have to possess or feel love toward the defendant, but we are so required. Okay. And so the second clause touches not just what we do, but the depths of us, namely our passions and desires. So what does prophetic ethics suggest for the transformation of our deepest passions? So often we're honest, if we're honest, our attempts at doing justice are tainted by the lack of genuine love. So we can be out there doing justice, but are we following that second phrase about the love and kindness that we're supposed to do, right? Mm-hmm. And what motivates us to have that second phrase in prophetic ethics? And he's suggesting it really doesn't give us one. Now, he's a virtue ethicist, and so he's going to lean on virtue ethics to help to buttress what we're doing. But he's suggesting that prophetic ethics doesn't give us that ground, that framework, foundation to have to go out and do that. It just tells us to do it.
Right.
He misses the second portion of the passage, right? The love, kindness. Mm-hmm.
Well, and Kallenberg did say that he was very sympathetic to Helsel's idea that we're almost too individualistic, but there is a point to being individualistic in some portions. That if you're just going out into the world and conducting yourself in a socially virtuous way, but you're still practicing those evil deeds at home, there seems to be a disconnect there. There seems to be a hypocrisy of a grand scale. So, if you call other people to give all their profits to the marginalized while hoarding your own, people are going to tend to call you out on that, and that doesn't seem to be the desire here for Kallenberg that he's pointing out as well. Finally, he goes on to say that the significance of the small stuff, the daily practice, is also captured in the third clause of Micah 6:8, to walk humbly. If the first clause emphasizes the deed of justice, and the second clause to mind the preparation that precedes the deed, the third clause emphasizes the time-intensive nature of the just life. And so he says, what do I mean? He means walking implies ongoing movement through time and space and time. Walking with God is a 24/7 process that encompasses the most boring, menial, mundane, and dare we say humble activities of the everyday. In fact, one of the things that I have noticed, especially over the past, maybe 5 years or so, is the Redeeming X book titles. And so, I've read a good many of them, and many of them have been good. But that is redeeming work, or redeeming childcare, or redeeming your time with elderly. Those are things to think about, and the at least the Reformed community is writing about it. But those not going towards complete social justice movements are still important, because Jesus is Lord of what? He's Lord of all, and that also means over how you conduct yourself at work, in your relationships with the elderly, in your raising of your own children, of doing the dishes. Guess what? He's Lord of that as well. So those are points that Kallenberg is kind of pointing to. Activities of the everyday are not only those moments when we are speaking truth to power or correcting unjust systems. Those tend to be the ones that we wouldn't write books about, but also we are now writing books about because of how important we are realizing that the authority of Jesus Christ has over our lives, and we want to walk in a way that is consistent and also a testament to the belief system that we hold, which is that God is sovereign over all things.
Yeah, and so what we see here and what we're going to see in the next two is a similar criticism with regard to prophetic ethics. It focuses on this social justice so much that it leaves out the individual, humbly walking with the Lord or loving other people, that sort of thing. And so it's about, the social justice is about speaking truth to power and correcting unjust systems by marching and doing all these things. But what about, at home and that sort of thing? And so we're going to see the other two authors are going to really jump on this kind of absence of this individualistic portion of the prophetic ethics, position. So we'll see that. But that's what Kallenberg here is implying here. It's too limited, or perhaps it's not broad enough to capture the full, orb of what ethics is all about.
Right. Right. So yeah, if it leaves some part of it outside the box of scope, then there has to be another system in place to capture it. And can that system capture all of it rather than a small portion of it? So yeah, I think that's well measured here.